When the man was fighting at the front, a shell took his left leg. From that moment, he decided to disappear from the woman he loved, not because he had stopped loving her, but because he was afraid of becoming her burden. In the years that followed, when the longing grew too great, he would only dare to watch her from a distance in secret. 10 years passed in a blink. He had assumed their thread was long since broken. Then, unexpectedly, the cultural troupe came to perform in the countryside, and she happened to come with them to this very village. The man inside the house refused to go out. Everyone urged him to at least see her once. He kept his head down and made his excuses. He could not bring himself to face the woman from his past. Said only that he wasn't feeling well. But then, just at that moment, she walked past the village notice board after the performance and saw a familiar face in the photographs. The man in the picture was him, banished all these years. He was here now, a village official. She was stunned and furious. All these years she had searched for him everywhere, and not a trace. She needed the truth. She walked straight to the village committee office. She only wanted to stand in front of him and ask one thing. Why did you disappear for 10 years? But the moment she pushed open the door and saw him, her memory pulled her straight back. They had grown up together. Childhood sweethearts, the kind people envied. He had been very poor back then, getting by on odd jobs and collecting scrap. But she had never once thought less of him for it. She had even talked of plans, the two of them going away together to make something of themselves. And he had promised her, once he'd saved enough for the betrothal gift, he would marry her. But fate always moves faster than promises. That year happened to be a recruitment season. He enlisted without telling anyone. In his heart, serving was an honor. Perhaps only this way would he deserve to give the girl he loved a real future. But he didn't dare see her before he left. He simply slipped away quietly. Until one day, she came to his door looking for him, and found the gate locked and him long gone. She asked the neighbors. All she got was, he left the city days ago. She was hurt and angry. She thought him heartless. But a few days later a letter came. That was when she learned he had joined the army. The letter wasn't long, but every word was an apology. He wrote that it wasn't a lack of courage that had stopped him seeing her, only a need to shed the weak, uncertain version of himself he'd been before. He wrote that one day, when he could stand before her with his head held high, he would come back. And so he was gone for 10 years. At first letters passed between them. Then suddenly they stopped. She never received another word from him. She didn't know whether it was military regulations or whether his feelings had changed. Everyone around her told her to stop waiting. She refused to believe them. In her heart, she knew this man would never simply walk away from her without reason. In the years that followed, she joined the cultural troupe, performing everywhere, asking everywhere. Whenever she caught the faintest rumor about the army, she would follow it up. Her sister told her to stop tormenting herself. Said it was probably just regulations, a ban on letters. But her heart refused to settle. Early the next morning, she went back to the place where he had once lived. The new occupant told her the previous tenant had moved away long ago. She left even more bereft. She tried to track down news of demobilized soldiers, but the records were thin. She could find out only which year he had enlisted, which military region he had served in. Anything beyond that, she was told, could not be looked into. That wall of silence only made her more uneasy. She kept feeling that it wasn't that he didn't want to write. Something must have happened. The papers those years were full of reports from the front. Heavy casualties. The more she read, the more afraid she became. Because knowing him the way she did, she knew he would not simply go cold without cause. In the years that followed, she still wrote to him now and then. Even with no reply, she never truly gave up. What she didn't know was that he had already come back. He simply hadn't been able to face her. He had been wounded at the front, his left leg destroyed, permanently disabled. When he returned home and looked at what he had become, he could never find the courage to stand before the woman who had been waiting. In his mind, no matter how much he loved her, being with her now would only tie her down for life. So he steeled himself and buried everything. Only when the longing became unbearable would he slip away to catch a glimpse of her from afar. Watching her familiar silhouette, he would blink back tears again and again. Later, the authorities placed him in a mountain village. He became a grassroots cadre. Meanwhile, she was still searching. Perhaps fate finally took pity. This time, when the troupe came to perform in the countryside, her name was on the list. When the performance ended and everyone headed to the guest house to rest, she saw his face on the notice board. At first, she thought her eyes were playing tricks. She stepped closer and was certain. The man in that photograph was the one she had spent 10 years looking for. She felt the ground shift beneath her. A second later, she was running toward the village office. She didn't believe he had stopped caring. Today, no matter what, she would hear it from his own lips. Why had he left without a word? Why all these years? Had all her letters gone unanswered? But when the door swung open, all her anger simply dissolved. 10 years without seeing each other. They both stood as if frozen. Neither could believe what was in front of them. He opened his mouth, but nothing came. Her tears fell first. She walked toward him step by step. She asked only one thing, why? He was silent. He couldn't bring himself to look at her. Then she saw it. Scars down his neck and along the side of his face. Then lower, his left leg, the unnatural way it rested. In an instant she understood everything. All these 10 years,